No, I played, during recess. That was all. That was my soccer career.
We weren't. My hometown wasn't sophisticated enough to have a soccer league. Soccer was for the bon vivants, the New Yorks, the Dartmouths, the cool, the hip. I grew up in a small town. We didn't even have soccer.
We had. So I was in the football, basketball, and baseball.
That's what I was too.
Was it.
I tore my
Track.
ACL playing soccer.
Yes, you were a soccer player. Yeah, Joy Taylor was, but
And
again,
I've never gone back.
Big time.
No,
High school?
No. It was a
College?
women's.
you were
league
a college
few years
athlete.
ago.
Give me a break.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
So listen,
Not as long as me.
Barkley says at KD New York thing, arguing with teenagers online, you're not going to work in New York. I don't think he's necessarily wrong.
Here's the deal. We can look at Kevin Durant as sensitive, or we can look at him as engaged. Okay? He's 30 years old. Think about it. Kevin Durant is 5 years younger than LeBron James. So he grew up like social media is just a part of his life. And I really wonder, and again, some of our private back and forths, we've talked about this or DM'd about it. You know, he just will go back at people. And he doesn't see it as, why shouldn't I go back at this person? You know, I'm just engaging in it. You know, it doesn't bother me, it's just part of my life. And the one thing I'll give KD is this. We've never seen it negatively affect him on the court.
That's true.
So that's my thing. Like, look, I look at it as sensitive. And I look at it, why are you doing this? And I look at it like, man, he's not going to be able to handle the people in New York. But if he's in New York getting into it with the media every now and then, not talking every now and then, still on social media and going back at reporters, going back at random fans here and there, but he's giving you 28 a game, who cares? I mean, that may be, I look at it and wonder, is he happy personally going back at all these random people, reading all these people clapping back at you and saying all this negative stuff about you? I wonder how you handle that as a person.
Well, he's not married, doesn't have kids, so it is possible. He's just got more time.
He just likes doing it. And my only thing I can go on is it doesn't hurt his game. The problem with a lot of athletes in New York has been they get there, the media crush is intense, the back pages are making fun of them, ripping them when they don't win and all that, and then their performance suffers because of it. I've never seen Kevin Durant's performance suffer because of social media, his engagement with people, his going back and forth with media members. You know, I'm not the first and not the only one he's gone back and forth with.
I told you, I'm jealous. I'm the only guy he doesn't DM with. And I'm the one guy that loves him. I love the guy. I say I made him the
You need to say something to rip him and he'll get back at you. But no, I mean, I got to admit this. His play doesn't suffer.
No, that's a good point. It doesn't. And by the way, I do think there are people that deteriorate. I do think Odell Beckham sometimes gets caught up in his feelings, and it changes. Like when
he gets caught up in the celebrity.
Yeah,
of
when
the
Odell
hype
came
of
out in that playoff game after the boat, and like Odell's got great hands and was dropping passes,
Right.
You're like, dude, that stuff's in your head.
Right.
You're
and
too
I
good of a
haven't seen that with KD, so maybe he could handle it.
By the way, I am so fired up for tonight. My theory, I just said it. Do you ever find when you were young and you didn't have any scratch, you were just a young hustler,
Right.
and you're living check to check?
Yes.
We've all lived that, right?
Yes.
You ever remember a moment when you're doing laundry and you find like a 20 or a hundy in your pockets and you didn't remember you had it? And you think to yourself, damn, I made it.
Not a hundy, but yeah,
Okay,
a
okay.
10 or a 20.
Okay, Boogie Cousins is the $50 bill. They didn't think they were getting almost 30 minutes. They didn't have any idea. They found Boogie Cousins. So now tonight, they're like, okay, we got Steph. We're at home. We got Clay. We got all these guys. Why risk Clay? Get him to game 4. Worst case scenario, you lose. But if I get a Clay, because KD's coming back, right? I think tonight.
It seems that way.
Psychologically, could I not say, Chris, roll with it? When Boogie gave you that,
Right.
Steph, Draymond, Boogie, Livingston, I think I'd roll without Clay tonight.
That's a great point. Look, if Clay doesn't play, there's really no logical reason to pick Golden State. But I have picked them. I'm just going on a hunch. All right. And I'm saying with or without Clay, I think Steph's going to have a big game. I think Draymond will be in attack mode a lot more than he was in game 2. especially when they go to that boxing one, which I think they'll throw here and there just to see if it still works. And Draymond will attack it more than he did in game 2. Boogie Cousins, to your point, I think Boogie's going to get around 20 points, if not more. I think he's going to be more of a focal point of the offense because they're going to need him. And he's played well against Nikola Jokic. He can play well against Marc Gasol. And then I think Iguodala is a ball. He's a gamer. He's like Draymond. Like, Draymond is not this great offensive scorer, but at moments when they've needed it, Game 7, 2016, they lost that game to Cleveland, but what Draymond do? 6 for 8 from 3, 32 points. That's not Draymond Green, but he's a gamer. So I think he and Iguodala have big games. And then Quinn Cook can shoot. He's a 42% career three-point shooter. I'm just saying, maybe I'm trying to convince myself because I picked Warriors in 6, but I think we might be in store for a big upset tonight. Warriors over Raptors.
Halfway through our show yesterday, the story broke, and I'm actually happy for Rich Paul and happy for Anthony Davis, where they clearly told the Pelicans, listen, we're just not going to rebuild again. Anthony said, listen, man, I gave you 7 years rebuild. It's like LeBron did. You haven't given me enough outside of Drew Holiday. I'm moving on. So they're going to make a trade. I believe they'll make it sooner than later. I think they want a clean break. And I also think David Griffin may like this draft enough where he not only wants Zion, he wants the 4 pick. I think the Lakers, and I said this earlier, Chris, and you've been covering this league a long time. As an executive, you've got to be able to go to your owner after a trade or a top draft pick and convince him you won. If David Griffin goes to Gail Benson and says, I got Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, and the 4th overall pick with Drew and Zion, there's your lineup. You can sell that to Gail Benson. You can say, the 2 guys we like for the Lakers, we got. Rob Pelinka can go to Jeannie Buss and say, I got you a 2nd star, and I kept the 1 young guy, unlike Brandon Ingram, who doesn't get hurt, and we're not concerned medically. I think both GMs can go to their owner and say, we won the deal. I think that's a big deal in trades.
Yeah, that's a good deal. You're right. It is a big deal. But I actually think New Orleans will get more than that from the Lakers.
What?
I think they'll get Josh Hart, too. I think they'll get – because the Lakers got to make the deal.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. I mean, I think the Lakers would be pretty good. Like, I heard JaVale McGee on here earlier say they could have got to the conference finals. I believe he said that if nobody got hurt. So I believe that they could be good if they don't get AD, but they feel like, and LeBron certainly wants Anthony Davis. So I do believe that if they have to give up the guys you mentioned plus a Josh Hart, they'll do it, and they should for Anthony Davis. And I think you still can say to Jeannie, we've got 2 of the best 7 players in the world. We won the trade. So I just think New Orleans, knowing David Griffin, because look, they could send him to New York. They could, Brooklyn.
Yeah, Lakers have better players than the Knicks, though.
Brooklyn is going to go, and I think the Lakers have a better offer than Brooklyn, too. But Brooklyn, if they can get Kyrie Irving, and the talk now, the latest on the NBA streets, if you will, is that Kyrie is looking at Brooklyn now, leaning heavily toward there, and actually trying to convince Kevin Durant to join him in Brooklyn.
I don't think he would.
Rather than them joining it together in New York.
I do not believe Kevin Durant would go to Brooklyn. I know everybody's telling me that.
I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying Kyrie's trying to talk him into that.
I'm going to the Warriors, to the 2nd biggest team in New York.
No, I'm with you. I think it could come down to who can convince who. Right? Can KD convince Kyrie to join him in New York?
KD doesn't need Kyrie. Kyrie needs KD way more than KD.
I agree with that. Because Brooklyn, to me, with Kyrie and that team, no D'Angelo Russell, he's better than D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, but
they're not going to be much better. Kyrie's not your first superstar contender.
What does Brooklyn have right now? Backcourt scoring. This would be more backcourt scoring.
Right.
That'd be like owning a sports car and telling my wife, I'm going to get another car. Oh, for the kids? No, I'm going to get another sports car.
I totally agree. They might do it for the gusto, the name, Kyrie Irving. But here's the one thing where it would be a big deal if they get Kyrie. Would they trade for Anthony Davis? Because they're going all in on trying to get Anthony Davis if they can get Kyrie.
Where's Rich Paul want Anthony Davis?
He don't want him in Brooklyn. But if I'm Brooklyn, and I've said it, look, if Boston, if they lose Kyrie, should not give up the farm for Anthony Davis. But if I'm Brooklyn and I get Kyrie, I'm probably willing to take that risk and give up my young kids, my pieces, some draft picks for Anthony Davis on what could be a one-year rental, thinking we're going to be really good. We're going to have a chance to contend in the East. And it's New York. Anthony Davis will probably like it here. We're going to, just like Toronto's done with Kawhi, we're going to lavish him with everything he wants, and maybe you get to keep him.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.